Hello everybody. We're going to be looking at British Values Level 1 today. Let's start with looking at our own values first of all. What are your values? I want you to write down what your values are and what do they actually mean to you. By values, we mean personal values. Personal values are things that are important to us, the characteristics, behaviours that motivate us, guide us in making our decisions. For example, maybe you value honesty. Maybe you value respect. Maybe you value responsibility. These kind of values. So think about it, write them down, and write down what they actually mean to you. I'll share a couple of values with you. Respect. Respect is one of them values. I want you to ask yourself, do you have respect for everybody? And be honest with yourself. Even if people are not like you, even people may not think like you, share the same faith, share the same religion, tradition, culture as you, different gender. There's lots of different genders, male, females, transgender, gender neutral. So do you still respect people who are different from yourself? Do we have respect for authorities or for where we live? Do young people have respect for police officers? What about where we live? As you can see in the pictures, litter being thrown on the roads, on the streets, on the pavements, dumped on the sidewalk. Do we actually have respect for where we live and for authorities? What about freedom? Another value, another important value. I think in this country we have freedom of speech, which is a basic principle that supports the freedom of an individual or a community to voice their opinions, to discuss whatever they want to discuss. Are you free to do what you want? What do you think? These are just a couple of values that I've shared with you. What I want you to do as a task is draw a table to identify how respect and freedom are demonstrated within today's world through everyday life, through your life. Being British, what is it about being British? Can you explain what British culture means to you? What is it? Is it the Union Jack? Is it fish and chips? Is it our dress? What is it? What does British culture mean to you? Let me just go through some examples with you. Is it the police? Because we've got a really good police service. We call 999 and the police respond. If there's an accident, if there's an emergency, the police will be there. We've got rights. We've got rights in this country. If something goes wrong, we can get a solicitor who will defend us. We have a rights to return things. If we bought something that's damaged, we can return these things. We've all got rights. What about the makeup of the family? Healthcare, such a fantastic healthcare service. What do you think? Is that good? Freedom. As I've talked about that before, freedom is one of the most important things that we've got. Democracy. Now, is that what being British is about? Democracy. What about the education system here in the UK? Is that what being British is? Have a little think. Let's move on to British values. We'll look at democracy, we'll look at rule of law, we'll look at individual liberty, we'll look at mutual respect, and we will look at tolerance of those with different faiths and beliefs. Let's start with democracy. Britain is a democracy. This means that people in Britain vote for the people who make the laws and decide how the country is run. So you decide who your councillor is. So we vote for a government in elections that are free and fair. And these are some of the parties, as you can see: Liberal Democrats, Labour, Conservatives, UKIP, and the Green Party. There's lots more as well. I'm going to show you a little video. So, from the video, there was lots about freedom and equality. Being treated fairly, having a voice, being allowed to have that voice. We have the right to go and protest. We have the right to go and gather in a group. We've got the right to vote. Every 5 years we vote for somebody, a new Prime Minister. We vote for our local councillors, MPs. Did you know that women only got the right to vote in 1918? It's about 100 years ago. We can have debates about things, discussions about things which are niggling us, which are concerning us. We can go out there and protest as well if we wanted to. Peacefully, of course. What I want you to do is compare and write about the three main parties in the UK. I think I've mentioned a few. Compare democracy in the UK with one other country in the world. Could be your country where you come from. What part does the media play in elections? How do they influence decision making? That could be the newspapers. That could be BBC One, ITV, Channel 4, Sky News. How do they influence people in making the decision to vote? Who are councillors? Who are MPs? And who are members of the Parliament? And what do they actually do? Do you know what they do? Let's move on to the rule of law. The rule of law implies that the creation of laws, their enforcement, and the relationships among legal rules are themselves legally regulated, so that no one, including the most highly placed official, is above the law. Now, this is important. There's a law in place, no matter who breaks it, they won't be safe from it. A set of written rules become law when they are recognised by the government and are required to be followed by members of the public. In Britain, we have a police force who make sure people do not do the wrong thing and break the law. This means that we're all safe. Why do we need laws? Public order. So if we do have a protest and it flares up and it goes out of hand, the police are there to control it. Something happens at our house, a burglary, a robbery. We call the police come and deal with it. We It's to protect our own individual freedom. When we go to court, provide solutions for legal reasons, any civil matters, any criminal matters, there's solutions. Maintain public confidence. If we didn't have a police force, if we didn't have laws in place, I think it'd be quite difficult to get the support that we need. What do you think? So, if a person breaks a law and is found guilty of a crime, they could face prison, suspended sentence. Now, that's a sentence where it's given, but it's suspended. They won't go to prison. Well, however, if they do something within that time period, they could end up going to prison. Community order, that's going out there, doing some work. But again, if they break the rules, the regulations, and do something, they might still end up in prison. Conditional discharge, where somebody's been discharged. A fine could be £100, could be £50, could be £1,000. Depends on the circumstance and the incident. Electronic tagging. As you can see on the picture on the left, it's a tag that's placed on your foot to see where you are at certain times, because you've been told that you have to stay at home at certain times and you can only go out at certain times, and you have to follow that. Curfew, that's similar, where you can't go out at certain times of the day and you have to be at home. So these are some of the penalties that one could face if they break the law. I'm going to show you a video on the rule of law, and then we'll have a discussion. Can you write 5 sentences about the video that you've just seen, please? Question. You're at the market and there is a stall with 2 young men who are handing out leaflets. Then one of the men makes a racist comment, inciting racial hatred. What are your thoughts on what he has said? What would you do? Would you report this man or just go about your business? Was the man in his right to say what he said? Have a think about these questions. It's a racist comment. He's inciting racial hatred. So he's really promoting it, isn't he? Have a think about what you would do and answer them questions, please. These are just a couple. One's an actor and one's a politician. We said before, nobody is above the law. Now, Lord Archer, millionaire, he was jailed for 4 years and found guilty of perjury and perverting the course of justice. And there, actor Wesley Snipes, tax evasion. So he got sentenced as well. So that just reminds us, nobody is above the law. Let's look at individual liberty. In Britain, as long as we do not break the law, we can live as we choose to and have our own opinions about things. And it's important to look at this. While we can discuss anything that we want, it doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. You have a right, but you can't go and hurt somebody. You can't go and incite hatred. We can choose our own friends. We can communicate with friends. We can disagree with an opinion. You might think something, I might think differently. We all have an opinion. We can marry who we want to marry. We have a choice in that. We have a right to an education, and we have a right to start a family. So these are our liberties, basically. We all dress how we want to, and it's part of our identity, no matter where we come from. However, there are lots of misconceptions about religious dress. For example, some Muslim women choose to wear religious clothing, like a headscarf, a niqab, or burqa. Why is this sometimes seen as oppressive by some? I'll leave that one with you. Mutual respect. We might not always agree with other people, but we try to show respect for their thoughts and feelings. We can give respect to others, and we can expect other people to show us respect. And this is, I'd want to be treated, if I treat somebody nicely, I'd want to be treated nicely. We listen to each other. We don't ignore each other. Work together. You do. You work together in your class. We express our views, our opinions. Being open about a topic, discussing it. But being alert to views which are unacceptable, like we've mentioned before, racist views, homophobic views, sexist views. And always bearing in mind, reporting any suspicious concerns. Now, these could be anything. It could be terror related. It could be somebody expressing a view of hate and saying, I'm going to go and physically hurt somebody. Now, these kind of things need reporting. Tolerance of those of different faiths and beliefs. In Britain, we accept that other people might have different beliefs than ours, and they may believe in different religions. Britain is so diverse. We live in Greater Manchester. Manchester alone, we have over 180 different languages spoken. That is absolutely fantastic. We have such a diverse community, and we should celebrate our diversity. We sometimes understand we don't share the same beliefs and values, but we need to respect the values, ideas, and beliefs of others, but not imposing what we believe on somebody else, and not falling out just because they don't want to sort of fall into what we believe. We need to embrace diversity. Like I've said, we've got a rich, rich culture of many, many traditions. The importance of religion, faith, traditions, cultural heritage, and preferences. But we also need to, at the same time, tackle stereotyping, labeling people, or they're different, prejudice, and discriminating against people. So we need to tackle that together. And if we do that together, we can probably eradicate that. Right? Respecting people's right to freely practice any religion they choose or to live without any religion at all. Now, that's a person's choice. That's an individual's choice, whether they believe in a religion, whether they don't believe in a religion. That is each and every person's right. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Do you think everyone's views should be accepted? Now, if you look at the pictures at the bottom, we've got the British National Party, and we've got one for the Sharia for the UK. Have a think about it. Should we respect the views of people who don't respect the views of others? Which British value do you think is the most important? That's a tough one. Which British value do you think is the most important? Explain why you think that. Which is important and why? Please give your reasons by completing a writing containing about 75 to 100 words. Let's look at the list of British values again. So we spoke about democracy, the right to vote, the rule of law, protection, police, having our rights, individual liberty, being able to speak, being able to debate, mutual respect, respecting me for who I am, respecting other people for who they are, tolerance of those of different faiths and beliefs, no matter what religion, no matter what faith, no matter what tradition. We should have tolerance, we should respect each other. Any questions? Please feel free to ask any questions.